Hey guys, welcome back to Relatable Nerds. Kyra here, and today I am going to be breaking down the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again. Daredevil Born Again premiered last night, March 4th on Disney Plus with a 2-episode premiere. Yes, we got 2 full episodes of the show we have been waiting in agony for so long. Matt Murdock and the gang are back. The last time we got to see Matt Murdock, Foggy, and Paige together was back in the 3rd and final season of the Netflix series Daredevil back in 2018. That is 7 years too long. Now, before I get started with my breakdown of episodes 1 and 2, I did just want to give you guys the heads up that this is going to be a spoiler-heavy reaction and breakdown. It would be impossible for me to break down these first 2 episodes without any spoilers, just because of all that has happened. The first episode begins right where we left off with Foggy, Paige, and Matt. They're leaving their own law firm in Hell's Kitchen, and they're walking together. The gang's all back. They're laughing. Their chemistry is amazing. They're picking off right where they left off. They haven't missed a beat. But it's like they're almost too happy that you know something sinister is around the corner. They head to Josie's, which is a local bar in the area, and they decide to get some drinks. Matt is sitting with Paige at his own table. Foggy is at the bar, just chatting away. Everybody's having a great time. We pan to Foggy getting a phone call from Benny, and he goes outside of Josie's. Matt hears everything that's going on. Fortunately, he is a little too late to his senses because Foggy ends up getting shot by none other than Bullseye, who we see kind of his little Bullseye gloves going on there. Hate to see this guy come back, but he is such a good villain in the Daredevil series. We know they all have a lot of heated tension going on between everybody, so I think this was just the perfect way to start out episode 1 and just get things going. This then proceeds to a epic battle scene at Josie's. Bullseye throws some tear gas into the bar. People are freaking out. They're screaming. They're yelling. We see Detective Cherry in there as well, former NYPD. They were celebrating his retirement, actually, and he sees everything going on, and he jumps in to help, and Matt just goes full Daredevil mode. He starts fighting Bullseye, and they go through the entire bar. And this sequence, the camera work throughout this entire scene was so impressive. The way they followed Bullseye and Daredevil throughout the entire bar and showing them just absolutely beating the crap out of each other while doing it. Bullseye just throwing all of his knives at Daredevil. You see them stuck in his suit throughout multiple scenes, and they're exhausted. Like, they are fighting each other so hard that you can see that they are physically drained. And then you see them kind of go up the staircase, and the camera is panning with them, and it was just shot so well. It felt like you were in the scene with them. Eventually they make it to a rooftop where they continue to fight. Daredevil's hearing Foggy pretty much pass away while Paige is trying to stop his bleeding, and it's just horrifying because he can hear everything going on while he's trying to fight Bullseye and figure out what his next step is. There were speculations that Foggy was going to pass. There were some leaked photos of the set. People have been talking about this on the internet for some time, so I wasn't quite shocked or surprised. It still stung just as much to see this happen. I was crossing my fingers that it wouldn't, just because it's so soon into the show, and obviously we all loved Matt and Foggy's relationship so much, so that totally is going to affect Matt's life throughout the rest of this season. He pushes Bullseye off of the top of that building. That was a pretty high fall, and you kind of hear the crunch of Bullseye falling. And on that note, while Daredevil and Bullseye were going at each other, you felt those punches. You felt the shot that hit Foggy. Like, the sound was also just so incredible. So many important details that went into this scene that just made it such an experience to start out this show. Although it was incredibly sad to see Foggy pass there right in front of the bar, it set the tone for what this show is going to be about. They are not going to hold back with any of the writing, with deaths happening, with scenes that are going to be hard for the fans to watch. Fast forward, it's now 1 year later, and Daredevil is not Daredevil anymore. He's retired from it. He doesn't want any of the people he loves to get hurt anymore or be in the line of fire. He's moved on with his life, kind of just see him living his day-to-day life. We see him and Karen meet up at a courtroom scene for Foggy, and Bullseye's there as well. We find out Bullseye did survive, find out that Matt and Karen haven't spoken in a year. Karen briefly alludes to Matt not even really responding to any of her reaching out to him, not responding to texts probably or phone calls or anything. Obviously, he was going through a hard time and everybody grieves differently. She took that very personal because it would have probably been helpful to both of them if they could have grieved together, but clearly Matt just didn't want to be reminded of anything Foggy related, which is really unfortunate to Karen because she was definitely having a hard time. They are kind of really not in communication right now. I'm not really sure what's going to happen with them. Eventually they'll probably rekindle their friendship, but for now they're definitely on the outs and have been for some time since Foggy's death. We're watching Matt walk through his new life. We see that none other than Wilson Fisk is running for mayor of New York now. This is like a slap in the face to Matt. He actually can't believe that people are seeing a good side to Kingpin. The younger generation is what they're pushing toward. We meet a new character, Daniel Blake, and he is working on the campaign for Wilson Fisk, and he's going to get that younger generation connection to Fisk. Eventually, Matt can't really take it anymore, and he purposely runs into Fisk, and they have a little day date at the diner. They start chatting and catching up like two old friends. Matt, makes some comments about Kingpin's appearance. He has more muscle. He lost weight. I'm glad they touched base on that because clearly Kingpin has been through the ringer. He was literally shot in the face by Echo, which they do mention this in their conversation. Kingpin goes, and I quote, "I tried to mentor someone," and Matt responds with, "Didn't they shoot you in the face?" As messed up as that response was, it's absolutely true. They did allude to Echo in that. If you guys watch Hawkeye, that happened in Hawkeye. We met Echo in that series, and then Echo went on to have her own miniseries on Disney Plus, which I was a huge fan of. I thought it was a fun little series, and it was cool to see Kingpin and Echo's relationship there and learn more about Maya, aka Echo. And I think we're probably going to see her in this series at some point. In the comic book series, Echo and Daredevil do kind of have a fling at one point, and it seems like Matt is kind of all over the place right now with the ladies. So I think it's possible that she's going to show up. So Matt and Kingpin, they continue this conversation and they kind of check each other, and Kingpin says if he becomes mayor, vigilantes are done. He wants nothing to do with them, kind of warning Matt, and Matt's like, I don't even do that anymore. You don't have to worry about me, but also, are you going to be cool? Are you not going to do anything messed up? Because I will come back. I will put on that costume if I have to. And they kind of check each other in that way. There was a lot of tension. I love this conversation and their relationship and just establishing those boundaries that they have with each other that we know are absolutely going to be crossed. And Wilson Fisk becoming mayor of New York is probably one of the worst things that could happen right now in this corrupt city. So basically at the end of this episode, we see that Kingpin does win the election for mayor. There's this absolutely epic shot of Kingpin on the rooftop of a building in New York with the skyline behind him and him just standing there over the city, foreshadowing everything he's about to do to New York. Poor New York. I just don't think it's going to work out for him the way he thinks it's going to work out. So that was pretty much what happened in episode 1. I touched base on all of the major points. There were some characters I didn't really get into detail of yet that will pop up in the future, especially in my episode 2 breakdown. I will get into more detail about all of them, which I am excited to do so because they are just building such a strong, interesting slew of characters for this series. Fisk is now the mayor of New York City. Daredevil is probably going to have to put that suit on again sometime soon. And I wonder who we're going to run into in the midst of all of this. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like me to do a full scene-by-scene reaction in the future for Daredevil Born Again. For now, I'm just going to be doing kind of mini recaps and my major point breakdowns and what you need to know to continue the series and some things that you might have missed that are important to the story. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of episode 1 and make sure to subscribe for more Daredevil content. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.